Okay, so last week we spoke about the fruits of the Spirit, right? So of course when we get into arguments with people and everything, Jess, whatever you missed you can find online.
Oh,
right?
yeah, I've seen.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Well, I didn't watch them yet, but I've seen them online.
Right, and what it is basically the fruits of the Spirit, and we talked about the gifts of the Spirit. The gifts of the Spirit is we're all gifted with a certain thing for our spirit, a certain gift to help us become better people. And then the fruits of the Spirit are personality traits and character traits that we should all have throughout our life. And also Jess's sister. What's your name again?
Cecilia.
Cecilia. Yeah, so they're just different ways that we have to behave. So I thought I'd take it a little bit further this week, right? Because as I was telling you guys, I went to church last week, that same church where this guy's doing the faith healing. Okay, so what did he do last week? What I said to my friend was, I was like, okay, you know what I want to do? I want to go to the church before the faith healing starts. And I just want to hear the guy's message. So when I get there and I hear the guy's message, when he starts doing the faith healing, we'll leave. Then that way I can't judge the guy, right? You can't pick the speck out of his eye. I won't feel bad about it, right? So my friend's like, okay, all right, we'll do that. So we get to the church, as God would have it, of course. The guy's healing the people already as soon as we get in. So it's not like, how are we supposed to go in the church and just turn right back around, right? So I'm like, okay, well, he's only going to probably do it for a minute. We caught him halfway, right? And again, I don't mind if someone's faith healing in a church. I believe, like Jesus said, we are healed by our faith, right? And when Jesus touched people, he said to them, you are healed by your faith, right? So I believe in faith healing. This guy, you know what he did? And you guys all know, I told you last week my back was hurting and everything like that. Okay, so this guy, he says to the woman, what's your problem, right? Now, she points to her back. The music's playing and everything, so I couldn't really hear everything that was going on, but I watched, of course, because I'm already picking the speck out of his eye, right, when I didn't want to, right? So she does this, right? And she's an overweight woman, very overweight, right? And she does this. And I'm like, oh, her back is hurting. And of course, at this moment, I'm feeling her now. I'm like, oh, my back is hurting too. And at this point, I couldn't even cross my legs. My back is hurting me so much. So then he looks at her, and he starts getting into his little trance, right? And then he starts saying something to her, which I couldn't hear. And then he goes like this to her, pushes her down. This woman's back's hurting, right? And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, and she's overweight. Oh my gosh, how's she gonna get up with a sore back and being so much overweight? Like, I would have to roll on the floor, the pain I was having, and kind of grab something and crawl up the wall, right? So anyway, of course, you know, she kind of gets herself back up again and she's giving respect to him as if to say thank you. And he says, no, wait. And then he tells someone to get behind her to catch her. Right, and he says, boom, and pushes her over again. So my girl falls again. This time she falls into the woman who's half her size, trying to hold on to her, right? And I'm like, oh, now this is just getting ridiculous, right? And then he says, he pulls her back, and he says, no, wait. Now it's all about him now. And now I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not picking a speck out of this guy's eye any longer. This guy has a log in his eye, right? And I'm like, okay. And at this point, I'm thinking, God, you got me to come to this church. The second time I went because I felt guilty. I didn't want to criticize him, right? But the second time, God started showing me even more about this man that I don't like. So the third time, he pulls her up. You know what he does this time? He doesn't push her. He looks around at everyone, and he goes, blows her. Okay, now tell me, am I being critical now? I don't think I'm being critical now. At this point, he's made it all about him. At this point now, he's like exalting himself, and he's like, oh, I'm such a good faith healer, and I'm not doing you once, I'm not doing you twice, but I'm doing you 3 times, and the third time, I'm just gonna blow you over. Right? And I'm like, buddy, like, and then at this point, I'm like, I don't even want to watch a sermon. God, get me out of here, right? And then I did leave before his sermon, got up and I left. Maybe about 5 minutes after that, because they started to take the offering. I put my offering in the envelope, and the woman says to me, you don't want to put the offering, go to the front and do it yourself? And I said to her, no, thank you. God knows it's coming from me. You just go ahead and put the offering in. And that was it. So the woman who takes the granite plate and everything, right? Apparently at this church you have to go to the front and put it in yourself, right? Because if you put it in yourself, then I guess they feel that God sees that it's you putting it in, and then you'll double your blessings even more, right? And that's okay, because people's beliefs are their beliefs, but God sees everything everywhere. He knows how much money He put in your pocket for you to be able to give it. You don't need to go to the front and show anyone anything, right? So anyway, that was that. So after I left, of course, in my heart, I'm struggling. And I'm like, God, I just want to hate on this man, right? But I'm like, but the guy has a church. He's helping someone, right? And he is preaching God's word. So who am I to pick the speck out of his eye? And there's this Bible verse that says this: "You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck out of your friend's eye." Right? Or your brother's eye or your sister's eye. Because most times all of us are criticizing people, right? We're always like, oh, this person doesn't do this right, this person doesn't do that right. I have this client constantly emails me throughout the day, constantly text messages me out throughout the day and says, why is this person on Facebook doing this and that? Why is this person on Twitter doing this and that? And always has a complaint about everyone. And this person who emails me hasn't been going anywhere in life, trying to over and over, but keeps tripping themselves up because of why? Their own criticisms, their own hatefulness, the fact that they can't get past their own issues, and they cannot take the log out of their own eye to pick that speck out of their own eye, and they're trying to pick the speck out of everyone else's eye, right? And so that's why I love this verse in Matthew 7:5, where it says, pick the speck out of your own eye before you try to pick it out of someone else's eye. That means don't go criticizing people. Accept people for who they are. Unless they are hurting other people, unless they are damaging someone else's life or beating up on someone, leave people alone. Let people do what they want to do. You know, and I notice that when we are too proud, when we are putting other people down too much, or analyzing everyone and what their movements do, we are actually putting God down, right? God doesn't like that. He doesn't like us being proud and more like, oh, look what that person's doing, or why are they doing this, and questioning someone else's movements constantly, right? God doesn't like that. God loves us to be humble. God loves us to say, yeah, they're doing that, but I'm no better. You know, they're doing that, but look what I went and did yesterday, right? And a lot of people, of course, they're always saying, this person did this and this person did that. Meanwhile, they're not looking at what they did, right? They're like, oh yeah, this person went and put this cup over here. Meanwhile, they went and put that cup over there themselves a week before, right? Not really cool. And God always opposes the proud, and not only that, oppresses us. When we start wondering, how come we're not getting anywhere in life? Most likely it's because we did something to one of God's children to prevent us from getting there. People think there's blocks. People think there's people putting spells on them. The word is voodoo, obia, and they feel like they're being spelled and everything like that. There's no way. Only the power of our mind can prevent us from moving forward or moving us forward. The energy in our mind, the energy in our body is what gets us forward, right? God's power. And then what holds us back, of course, are our judgments and our patterns. Patterns, people. You guys see, it's our patterns that create our habits, right? And then our habits is what holds us back. Habits, whether it's fighting, arguing, whether it is even being in a relationship that is no good for us, patterns hold us back. Anyone in here feel like something is holding them back in life right now? Oh, we got some honesty happening in here. I thought you guys are all gonna keep your hands down. Okay, Jess, what do you think is holding you back? Or do you just feel back, or do you feel something is holding you back?
I'm not really sure, just like career-wise. I feel like something's holding me back, but I'm not really sure what. Probably myself.
Yeah, but you're so young still, see? So that's where we get to analyze things. We say, is it my pattern holding me back? My criticisms holding me back? Is it my negativity holding me back? Or my positivity holding me, or just being held up, right? And I would say with you, it's probably a little bit of both. And fair to say, right? Because you're so young, it's very difficult to have a career at this time. How old are you, 22?
21.
21. Very difficult to have a career at that time, right? But it's important to work towards it, which you have been doing, right? Over the years, you've been getting a job here, a job there, school, right? And so you have been working towards it. I mean, I've known you before you even had your driver's license, right? And so, and seeing you grow, I can honestly say that I don't think you're in the way of yourself with criticisms or with bad patterns. I can say that I see a good growth around you. Now, when it does, now criticisms hold us back, but patterns, what we can do is break out of certain patterns. So, like if you find yourself sleeping in and you should be waking up, then just say, you know what, I'm going to wake up every morning at a certain time and stick to that. Okay. No matter what. Even if you happen to fall back asleep a half an hour later, right, or something of that nature, because, we all are guilty of, falling short. Still do it. Still wake up. And then you slowly break the patterns that hold us back, right?
Okay.
Okay, and do that. But I would say around you right now, just really continue to think at a high level of success, right? My son, he came in the other day, Tyree, he came in my room the other day and he's like, Mom, I want to own my own restaurant. And I was like, you do? Wow, okay, well, that's fantastic. And I told him and he's 17, going on 18, I said, as long as you have that level of consciousness at this age, you will own a restaurant, right? Remember I was talking about the acting a few weeks ago when you were here? Well, what I did was I said, I'm going to take it off my map for a little while. I didn't take it off completely because my level of consciousness planning all those commercials a few months ago actually came into fruition, and I just finished an infomercial the other day.
Oh, good.
Right, and I was like, I went on set and it went good. I was on set for 11 hours and everything, worked only for an hour, but it was good, right? And I loved it, and I was like, yeah, I can do that again, right? But my level of consciousness got that infomercial for me. It wasn't just something that was handed to me because I have a good heart, because good-hearted people are out there all day, and a lot of them don't have anything, right? Except their good heart.
Yeah.
But it's your consciousness that gets you to what you get in life. So if you say to yourself, I want my career, I'm going to have that career, and this is what I have to do to work towards it. I'm going to start by waking up every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and during that half an hour that I happen to be awake, I'm going to go on the internet and I'm going to study something that I'm interested in. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go on one of those job sites and look for a job, but it does mean that you should do a little research on something that you find interesting. Now, whether it's tutorials on how to do your makeup on YouTube, at least you're breaking that pattern and still waking up early in the morning. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes. So level of consciousness at your age right now, that's all it really takes. Right? Because you're not a lazy person. And I do see that you have broken past certain patterns in life. You used to be afraid to drive on the highway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I gotta say this. She was afraid to drive on the highway, and I used to be like, Jess, do it. Don't be afraid, just do it. She wanted to go to clubs downtown Toronto, but she didn't know how to get there because she lives in, where? Pickering or Ajax? Or?
Pickering.
Right, and she'd be like, but I'm afraid to drive on the highway. I was like, well, you're gonna have to get to the club. Boom, within months, this girl broke out of that pattern and she was driving on the highway. Now she's back and forth, zooming all around, and right? You're driving on the highway, right? And it was just a matter of getting past that fear of breaking that pattern. So you're doing good in life. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you just keep growing like that, okay? So again, start by waking up earlier in the morning.
I feel like I'm kind of Benjamin Button.
Benjamin, I've never seen that movie.
Oh, where it's basically where he goes from like old to young kind of thing. So I feel like I'm in school again, in a way. I'm learning so much by like listening to my audio tapes, but at the same time I'm looking at my age, but I don't feel my age, which is just 40.
Right.
Yeah, but it's weird. So, and I know what I'm capable of, but I'm saying, why isn't it here as yet? but I know it's gonna come, but it's, yeah, so within that, I keep on thinking to myself, like, is it my pattern of my old ways, like, that's holding me back, like, or do I still have some of that complaining or whatever, because I do that, but I try to straighten it out. So as I try to correct, I just wondering, like, sounds confusing, because I am.
No, like you're wondering if your old ways are holding you back, even though you do feel like ageless, even though you're 40.
Yeah.
But you feel, but I feel that, like knowing you for like a good decade now, right? I feel that you've definitely grown.
Yeah, I have, but
mentally, physically, spiritually.
But I want everything today.
You want everything today, so
Yeah.
that's what's holding you back. Your impatience,
yeah.
maybe, not
Yeah.
patterns.
Yeah.
I can say that right there.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Is that really? Because your patterns are not negative, right? You analyze people, but I don't find that you criticize and that things are holding you back. And I've seen you grow, like in the last decade that I've known him. He has graduated school, he has
Learned how to
got
read.
married, huh?
Learned how to read and write properly.
Learned how to read and write properly, right? Like, in a matter of just a few years.
Stop hitting people.
Not so aggressive, you're more assertive with people, right? So yeah, I would say that right now it's more impatience that is making you feel like something is holding you back. But when you really look at your life in the last few years, if you can see growth, especially at least a little bit of growth each year, then nothing is holding you back, right? Especially then you met a nice woman, you got married, and even that woman is progressing as well. Yeah, so I would say that you're around you, there are no patterns that you should question, right?
Okay.
Of course, we all have that negative holding us back, right? And everything like that. What were you thinking is holding you back?
I think I'm a little bit impatient too. I think I've cut out people that shouldn't be in my life anymore, or out of my life. I noticed, even though last week I went out of my comfort zone, I knew like
You went out.
I did. I went out, and it was fine, but it wasn't me, and I knew that, and it was fine. But it just reinforced, like, Angela, what are you doing? Like, you're trying to be something that you're not, just to prove, yeah, you can go out. But I don't go out. I'm not a drinker. Right. I don't act a fool. I never did that because I was always so much more mature than my age. Having a family young and so forth. So I've cut everything out. And I think that, like, I'm trying to spiritually grow and be a better person. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm impatient like Anthony.
I think so too.
Because I also have 5 kids reminding me every day, we have to move, come on, what's the hold up? And I'm trying, and it just feels like, why isn't it here yet? And I'm killing myself to try to make it happen, but it's like, when you're at the tip of just before the storm is over, it's about to be over, and you're just like, okay, already, I think I've done my time.
Right? It's like a tooth. Just when that tooth is being pulled, it's almost like on the last little string.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, it's the most painful part usually, because you're afraid, right? To just kind of pull that tooth out. That's where you're at right now. You're just about to reroot yourself, have that new tooth grow out. And because of that, you're, going to feel a little impatient. You're going to feel like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Because I thought we were going to be moved, because I had actually set up people to move into where I'm living now by October 1st, and it's now November.
And they haven't moved.
Oh no, we haven't found a new place. Like I can't, it's November 10th, thank you. So it's just, I thought I'd be able to get myself situated by October 1st, and then it turns into November 1st, and okay, now I'm at December 1st, and it's like, hello.
Right. So you feel like that something is holding you back. And you know what, sometimes it's just us having to do one thing, sacrifice something else. You know, I mean, you come here every week, and that's sacrificing. You come and,
That's
you know,
pleasurable. It's
yeah,
not a sacrifice.
That's pleasurable. Well, thank you. But there's things that we can do, the most simplest things, and it could be meditation. That's why meditation, I always encourage meditation, where that's where we take our level of thought and make it higher, right? That is where we take everything that we want and we put it into a recipe. That's where we say, okay, I want wealth, health, wisdom, security, everything you want, you put it all on a plate and you rise it up. Just like right to God, just to the higher mind. And you have to repeat it over and over and over again. Most of the things that I got, in, like, you know, when I'm moving forward and everything, it's always because I repeated it over and over and over again. It's not like begging God and praying, oh, may I have this, please, please, please. It's more like, that's what I'm going to get. That's what I want. Like, for instance, right now, my one thing that I really want is a place where I have the carpet about this thick. I just want to wake up in the mornings and have really thick, come on in. Hey, honey, come on in. And just right now, I just want a really thick carpet, right? And as strange as it sounds, I just feel like that's what's going to bring me a little bit of comfort. Even though I'm going to have to work harder to vacuum and clean up after my dog and everything like that, and it's going to be annoying, I still want that carpet. So with you, you want to be moved. Imagine how you want that house. What color you're going to paint the kitchen. What color you're going to, and that's what you have to start building that house. Sometimes it's not good enough to say, I just want to move. You have to actually start constructing that place in your head. Like right now, I'm like, I want a backyard. I want to be able to let my dog out. And there's different things I'm adding to it. So it's almost like making a casserole. You can't just open up your fridge and say, okay, I want to make a casserole, and then, you know, I got the pot, but not have the ingredients. You have to say, what are the ingredients? I got to go get them. And you actually write the list of ingredients that you have to go get for whatever meal you're cooking. Same thing with this house. Like, do you want it to have a lot of stairs going up to your door? Do you want it to be maybe 4 stairs or just flat? You know, you see where I'm getting at? A big veranda or a small veranda? Do you want it to be an enclosed veranda or an open veranda? Do you want it to be 3 floors, 2 floors? Do you want an apartment building? And if you do you want it to be down in the heart of the city? Or do you want it to be, you know, away from everyone? Right?
What if, like, because like I already had that like planned out as you like were speaking. What if you already had that planned out, like, and it's still not planned to you?
That's where meditation comes in. So you have it planned out already, you wrote it out on a piece of paper, you put the wish list out, and then, which we're gonna get to in a second, vision board, right? And we're gonna do vision boards, I think next week in class, right?
See, like what we do, because they're a big part of why I want to move from where I am to where I want to go, right? And we actually go out and drive around, oh, this is the house we want. No, this is the one. So then we even like went as far as like to write down the houses that were for sale in that like, in the area. So that's we went that far, and then we were like, okay,
Beautiful.
you know, like we know exactly like we just want to start over somewhere
So you
else.
pinpoint it where you wanna move, so
Right.
location. So when you think about a business, right, you think about location first, you start thinking about your target market. You start thinking about what products you're gonna have in the store and stuff like that. So you guys already did groundwork, basically. All you have to do now is think about, again, like I said, what you want in the house, right? How it's going to be. Did you guys put a price on the house? How much you want the house to be and everything?
It can only be up to a certain price.
Perfect. And is that price within the price range of where you pinpointed the homes?
It's probably a little like not realistic because the house, where we wanna go
Mhm.
is quite a lot out of my like price range.
Right?
But in that area, it'd be cheap for that area. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
so we wanna move
Like, say for example, it's
Did-
like High Park area, usually like the homes are like $1 million homes, but where we chose, they're like 600,000.
But you guys are more, it would be better, more feasible for you to get a $300,000 home.
of course.
Okay, so what you do is both,
Right.
okay? So what you do is it's not silly to go to Hyde Park and look at the $1 million homes. It's not silly at all, because of course that's so important, right? It's putting your level of consciousness out there, and what you can conceive is what you will achieve. So
Right.
it's definitely important to go and look at those $1 million homes.
This is the only one thing. So we've done that, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna buy this. And then the kids get discouraged, and that's where I hear the negativity. Oh, we're not moving. That's not gonna be our house. You don't have any money.
Right,
Like they always
right.
are,
And because
they don't see it moving.
then the form of reality starts to kick in, and then they're like, how are we supposed to get that when we're not even, so how are we supposed to get to 10 steps when we haven't even moved the first step yet?
Right.
Right, so they're looking at all the steps in between, and then they're getting frustrated, right?
Right.
Which we all do, right? And it's so tough. That's why it's important to get a nice sliding scale. So also go look at the homes that are even less than 300,000,
Well, there's none.
right? Look in every area, and look around, and then get homes that you don't want. Put that out to the universe, right? Because a lot of the times we'll say, I want this and I want that, but then you also have something else to say, I don't want that. Like, so where I'm living right now, right? I'm so grateful for it, and I'm so thankful for it, that I always say, oh God, thank you so much that I'm not living where I was, right? So I already have that point of reference where I'm like, oh, I don't want to go back and live where I was, right? And I never want to. So, you know, it's good to get a home where like, and there are some homes out there that are like, you know, 150,000, you know, what is it called? Power of sale homes and stuff of that nature, but they're fixer-uppers, and they might be in an area where you wouldn't want and stuff of that nature. But it's important to go visit those too, so you can say, oh no, not that, right? And then there's some in the middle of the road things that you have to do as well, right? Get people out there working for you, right? Put the word out there. Get some new agents and stuff of that nature. And you can move mountains just by making one little change, right? Just by one little change, and make sure you guys don't get frustrated, right? As the kids here, you know, you got 3 of your kids here today, nice, right? But, and I know it probably would get frustrated as being the oldest girl, right?
Yeah, like I have to take the bus like for an hour and 30 minutes every morning.
To go to school,
Yeah,
an hour and 30 minutes every day?
yeah.
Because she decided to stay in the area that we were in, but now we're like back in Scarborough.
And are you going to school every day?
Yeah.
And you take the bus that much?
One
Yeah,
way
like-
to the bus.
One way?
Well, it's 3 hours in total. Like of my day.
When you're taking the bus that much through your future, don't do that in vain, right? Do that by saying this is work too. So going to school is one thing, going to school every day is a great thing. But as you're going an hour and 30 minutes, that is, you should be getting paid for that. Mentally, you say, this hour and 30 minutes that I'm dedicating for transportation is going to go towards my karma, my positive karma. And you have to do it mentally. But if you're just doing that in vain, and you're like, oh, an hour and 30 minutes, I gotta take the bus, and you're doing it negatively, it will be negative, and you will not benefit from it, right? And you will do that work in vain. It will be almost like, a waste of time, right? But take that time and look at it positively, and that will also add to you guys getting in place faster. Believe it or not. Believe it or not.
Well, I believe it.
And because when you say to yourself, this is what I'm doing now to get me to where I have to go later, my gosh, you know what I mean? When my boy was only 6 months old, now he's 17, right? When he was 6 months old and my daughter was 6 years old, just so I could finish my education, I would have to, in the morning, take 6 buses. So I would have to take 2 buses to his daycare, 2 buses back from his daycare to my daughter's school, and then 1 bus to my school. And I didn't have a vehicle, and I was still a young mom, and I was like, I'm doing this in the name of my future. Because I have a choice. Stay at home and not take those buses and wait for my children to get older and then I'll start doing everything. Or just relax and go on welfare like a lot of the other people were doing in my neighborhood. Right? Although I was on social assistance there for a moment while I was in school, OSAP and everything. Right? I had to do what I had to do to get things done. And I'm telling you, now looking back on it, my son's 17 now, and I'm like, I don't know how I took 6 buses in the morning when I don't even know if I can do that right now, right? But I did it because I didn't do it in vain. And I knew that I was doing it for a reason in my future. And right now I could get a vehicle if I want one, but I live downtown Toronto, everything's so convenient. I had a truck and everything, I gave it up, right? Right now I have the option, right? Because I did all that. So you're doing good, and all that bus you're taking right now, you're gonna benefit from that. So when you do that, and you step your feet up on those stairs, getting up on that bus or that subway or whatever you're doing, you say to yourself, I'm doing this in the power of God, in the power of my future, because what I do now will have an effect on me later. I'm very impressed too, because you're 16, and you're going to school every day. You don't have to. A lot of girls, they're like, I'm not going to school. At that age, you have the right to sit back and not go, I think, right? You could skip school and everything. Do you skip school?
But it's like illegal to do that until you're 18. You're allowed to drop out of school.
Really? But do you skip school?
Like I only skipped like yesterday, but I don't skip unless I have like appointments. I skip.
Good for you.
But that's because my mom allows me to skip for my appointments.
Right.
So it's
Good.
an appointment.
If it's an appointment, right?
Yeah.
And so,
It's not
you know,
skipping then.
that's right. And at this age, a lot of 16-year-olds are doing what they want to do. And in our society, a lot
Allows
of...
it.
That's right. And that's why I'm like, you can do that, right? But it's so good that you're not, right? It's so good. So many girls out there wasting time with their life and everything because they can. They're going and wasting their time with young boys and you know, laid up at their friend's house, you know, doing whatever they want instead of going to school and everything. You're doing good, right? So, again, for your family, you guys just keep going and visiting these places. Keep going and
We do it every week.
you do it every week?
Yeah.
See, as long as you keep doing that, something will break, right?
Yeah.
It will break.
Because,
Did
for
it-
example, Cerise says she wants a building, and I started looking from last week.
Right? But
Yeah.
he did the blueprints, what, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A building, what, you wanna buy a building to rent or live or an
buy.
office? Okay.
I want to get a building to buy, and I already spoke to the class about it before. I want a building to buy, and in that building, I want to make sure that I have yoga classes, meditation classes. I want to have every Sunday people come in and maybe even like a church kind of thing. But I want to be able to build things up.
Get that out.
Oh, no, I don't.
No, I'm showing her realtor.ca.
Right.
To find
It
your
could
house.
just
And you
take
put in your
one
price
little
range
thing.
and everything.
Really?
Yeah, I heard a commercial on the radio the other day, right? And it's the cutest little commercial, right? So the woman answers the phone and she's like, hello. And he says, hi, I'm an 8-year-old home or something like that. And, you know, you came to see me or whatever. And, you know, so the home had to call her, right? Because I guess what the commercial is saying is you don't know what homes are out there waiting for you, right? And the home's not just gonna call you, right? So you gotta go out, and by you guys going and looking, you don't know what you're gonna stumble on, right? You have no clue what you're gonna stumble on. You just know that inside your hearts you are being guided, you are being led to go and look. And from when you are listening to that voice to go and look, that's the voice of intuition. Right? Again, some people call it the Holy Ghost, some people call it God, some people, there's different names for it, but it really is the higher divine creator saying, Angie, get that family together and go look for homes. I have something out there for you, but you're not going to get it until you show me how much you want it. Right? And then you can also get out there and see what you don't want, what you do want, And put the message out there. It will happen. Your kids are very determined. Your kids are very smart, right? And I got your Facebook message. And Asia says to me on Facebook, "Hi, I'm going to see you on Saturday." And I'm like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got some fabulous, fantastic kids. God, you're welcome, and you're doing a good job, and you will be blessed. It doesn't mean you have to suffer. What you're doing is you're experiencing. These guys are going to learn so much from whatever they're experiencing now in life. In the future, they will be such powerful entities out there, right? So you guys might feel like, oh my gosh, we're not happy right now. We're not settled in the home we want to be in, but you will be, okay? Just make sure every time you step foot on that bus, you're like, this is in the power of God. I'm stepping on this bus.
What if she gets the house, but like I'm in university and my university's not like in Toronto, so like it won't be like relevant to me.
Well, the fact that you're talking about university impressed me even more. Right? What if I'm in university? Good for you. You get to go home and visit every now and again. But the thing is, you will be, I understand what you're saying. You want to be settled before university or something of that nature. Don't even focus on that. The fact that you feel you're going to be in university is where the mind is even more powerful. Okay? Like right now, you're just so young, you're just 16 years old, and you're at a tender age, but you're thinking about university, like, come on.
She wants to go to Queens, I think, or no.
Queens?
It's either Queens or Dalhousie.
Dalhousie. Isn't Dalhousie in Nova Scotia? Yay! That's my
We've never
Scotian
been there, but.
You want to go to Dalhousie? I know a lot of people that have been to Dalhousie, right? I have a lot of Nova Scotian cousins and stuff, and very good university. Yeah. Never been, you'll love it in Nova Scotia too. So that's exactly what you have to do. Think about the future. This house is just secondary, okay? It's just secondary, and you just gotta keep moving forward. Meditate on it. Imagine how you want your bedroom to look. How do you want it to be set up? You already know all that too?
We went to IKEA for like hours, and we were like, these are all the things we're gonna put in your room. It was crazy. People were looking at us like, what are these people doing?
Serious?
Yeah, we even got the little thing, like as if we were gonna buy it and everything. We priced it out.
That little list that you have to fill out?
Yeah. So we went as far as to do that even.
Okay, how much is that lottery tonight? Because you guys
40
are doing
million.
Yeah, there we go. Dude, you got 5 kids and you got it. You're doing it so right and so well. You're not being held back. This is learning lessons for each and every one of them. It's power, and it's encouraging them, very much so. And I know it's a struggle. I know that it's frustrating. It is, but it is going to work out, right? And it's not going to be when you're in university. You don't have to worry. So 2 years? That's in 2 years?
Yeah, because like I'm in grade 11 now, so.
You're in grade 11 now?
Yeah.
You're going to do it. Don't you worry, okay? You're going to do it. I feel it, what you're doing with the kids. Don't you guys feel that? Like, holy mackerel, right? That's like awesome. You're taking them to IKEA, you're driving them around, and just the gas that you're using to do that. Just the energy that you're using to go up those IKEA steps. To go around and get lost in the IKEA building. Which one you go to, the one at Leslie?
No, we went to the one at, what was it, the Queensway?
No, I think it was the one at Leslie.
Was
Because
it?
remember we saw like the exercising room? And
Yes,
cars?
okay, yeah, it was Leslie.
Oh,
We've gone to the one at the Queensway too, but Leslie
Yeah.
was tiring.
yes, it's walking around. That's like a maze, that place, right? It's
We got
even
lost,
harder to
but-
figure out that
yeah.
than it is their furniture to put together, right? But that's exactly what you have to be doing, okay? And and also, our thoughts and our criticisms make our life, okay? Just like our clothes make our style, what we choose to wear every day. People look at you and they're like, oh yeah, that's that person's style, whether it's grunge or whether it's, high class fashion model or whether it's just humble dresser, right? Our clothes make our style, our thoughts make our life. Okay? That's exactly, the exact same thing. So when you guys are thinking and you're going through IKEA and you're feeling that, you also have to, when you're saying, I want this bed, or I want this dresser, or whatever, whenever we say we want something, we set it out, we put it to God. And we say, God, That's what I want. You have to have conversation. You don't just say, I want, and keep it down here. You have to say, I want. And you do it with passion and power from within. You don't just do it with desire, okay? You have to say it with, that's what I want. Conversation, right? Conversation with God is always very important. Okay. So criticisms are very, so we have to watch our thoughts. Do not criticize, okay? And we cannot slander anyone. Do not slander, do not mock, and do not speak against anyone. And if we want to manifest our deepest desires, we have to break out of behavior patterns. So, let's say, I'm just gonna go back to you guys. Let's say you get mouthy with your mom, right?
Not you.
Right? That right there knocks things down quite a bit, because God says you are not in line enough for blessings. If you are not mature enough to get to respect your mom, then you are not mature enough to have that room. Because God's blessings are always given based upon our behavior.